equanimity. You might need those today. And today a strap would be really helpful. If you have a yoga strap, that works great because it has a buckle, but a belt would work, or a scarf, or even a long like little kitchen towel or something, but just something that you can use as an arm extender today. And you may or may not need it, but it's nice to have it handy because you'll be more likely to be kind to your body and use it if you have it available. All right, and when I can see that those of you who went to retrieve items are back, I will bring us in. All right. Good morning and welcome. Welcome back to quite a few of you. Thank you. And welcome to our 5th week of exploring equanimity as a foundation of resilience. We have been exploring this from a variety of different angles. So we started 5 weeks ago with exploring equanimity in the context of creating a moment of clarity, creating a moment of pause, a moment of calmness, when you can tune into your own inner wisdom so that you can have a response to a situation rather than a reaction. And so we will continue to pursue that, and we've explored different strategies for this. We've explored finding sort of stressful sensation in your own body and recognizing what that engenders for you. Does it want you to fight or flee or submit or try harder? We've looked at how maybe different emotional reactions come in, like frustration or excitement or fear. We've looked at how your own nervous system can recalibrate itself just by paying attention to what's happening. And so we've explored equanimity in a lot of different ways. And as I began to talk about last week, equanimity is one of the 4 mature emotions, and it is the foundation of those mature emotions, which are compassion, loving kindness, and joy. And in that sense, it is the foundation, not just for auspicious or responsible or social action, which is how we've explored it, but it is also the foundation for your ability to connect to others in an open-hearted and compassionate way. And that's what we'll work with today, is finding your equanimity sort of on behalf of wise action, on behalf of finding community, creating community, and finding your open heart. And so it will become a springboard for us to investigate further and further how we can apply the wisdom that we garner on our mat for the greater good. All right, so we will actually take our opening, centering, our breathing exercise standing up today. So take a moment to make that transition. And we will take a breathing exercise called the connection breath. And it's a beautiful breathing exercise that allows you to use the 4-part breath, which we've been cultivating in the context of cultivating equanimity. And so it consists of 3 sets of movements that use the 4-part breath to guide them. If you've done it before, you can just go ahead and start with me once I get started. If you've never done connection breath before, you might want to watch for a cycle or just follow along to the best of your ability. There really is no wrong way of doing this. And so the breath flow, or the movement flows with your breath. And in connection breath, we actually do synchronize our breath. And so I'll try to find a rhythm that will work for most of you. If your rhythm is really off from the rhythm that I'm showing, please feel free to move at your own rhythm. All right. So make sure you have plenty of space to bring your arms out to the side. I have to turn this a little bit because I have kind of a narrow space here, but make sure, maybe just test that by bringing the arms out to your side to be sure that you have room. And so the connection breath starts with an inhalation as you allow the arms to travel around the world above your head with the in-breath, where you pause for a moment to then exhale the hands to your heart. You inhale and open yourself up, and you exhale and draw back into your own heart. You inhale to reach for the sky, and you exhale, circling back around to your own heart. And so these are the movements that repeat. Inhaling, connecting yourself to something greater, and then drawing that sense into your own heart. Inhale to embrace the world, to open your heart, and exhale to draw that connection into yourself. Inhale to reach for something greater. Exhale to draw that greatness into yourself. Inhale. Pause. Exhale. Pause. Inhale. Pause. Exhale. Pause. Inhale. Pause. Exhale. Pause. And now without sound. And one last round of connection breath together. Inhale and reach up for something greater. Exhale, draw resources into your own heart. Inhale to open yourself up to a greater connection. And exhale to bring that sense of connectedness to your own heart. Inhale to offer yourself up to the world. And exhale to make that offering compassionate and kind toward all. Rest for a moment with your hands at your heart. If it feels appropriate, you might bow your head to heart center. You might even close your eyes if that feels stable for you standing. From this place of feeling connected to a greater whole, from this place of committing to cultivating an open heart, I invite you to allow an intention to surface in your mind. An intention that will bear the merit of your time on the mat today. A greater purpose on your own behalf or on behalf of the greater good. With a breath in, seal that intention into your own heart. And with a breath out, send it into your community. If they were closed, open the eyes or lift your gaze. Release your hands and welcome. So we will remain standing for just a little bit. And if you did go and grab your strap, then this would be a good time to use it. So a tie will work, or a towel. You can also do this movement without a strap altogether. To open our heart to the world more physically, rather than just figuratively, we actually need literally an open chest. And so we will work a little bit on opening the front muscles in our upper body, which tend to be tight from sitting forward at our devices or computers or television screens, or even our car seat. And so we'll start with that. So again, I have to turn a little bit to the side. Hold your strap a little bit more than maybe an arm's length apart. We will inhale the strap up. We will pause. So yes, once again, a 4-part breath. With the exhalation, you will bring the strap behind you. You might really have to make your grip a lot wider for that to feel good for your body. The next time you inhale, you come back up. You pause here and you move forward. And so that's the rhythm. As you come forward, you might want to reduce your grip again. And then move with your own breath here. We don't have to synchronize. Inhaling up and pausing. And exhaling down. Nice and slow. Pausing at the bottom. Flow with your own breath. And as you move, notice where there might be sensation for you. This could be very different for all of us, depending on which muscles are a bit tight. So for me, I tend to feel this a bit in my upper arms, especially the tighter I hold the strap. And then on the way down, where do you feel it? Maybe between the shoulder blades, maybe in the front of the chest. Just be curious. What's the sensation that arises here as you open your heart in this way? We'll do this about 2 or 3 more times, depending on your own breath cycle. And as you breathe in, you might really feel a sensation of heart opening here, both literally and figuratively. Opening yourself up. And then as you return, can you bring the strap forward without closing down your chest? Can you stay open as we do this one last time? Or if you're mid-cycle, just finish the cycle that you're on. And the next time the strap is in front for you, you can go ahead and release it. And then hopefully you have a wall that you can use somewhere. It could be a closed door. So take a moment to find a wall. And we will continue to stretch the chest open here. If you don't have a wall, you can do this without a wall. You're just sort of pretending that you have one. But if you have a wall, turn yourself to the wall. Now I will look at you, but you would actually look at the wall. And so you bring your arms out at shoulder height. And then from here, you will walk your feet to the left, and your body will follow to the degree that your own chest can open. The left arm will come to your side, and you are opening the right side of your upper chest here. So your arm is behind you at the wall, and you are turned to any amount of safety here. If you don't have a wall, bring your arm out behind you like this and just pretend that you have a wall there. But if you do have one, it does make it a bit more effective of a stretch. So if you do have a wall, you can also moderate the amount of stretch by how hard you press your palm into the wall. So you might experiment with that. What happens in the opening here of your chest when you press the palm into the wall versus when you release it? With your next out breath, turn back to the wall. Bring both arms back out to the side. And then descend your right arm to your side as you walk the feet. As you walk your feet to the other side. And so now you are stretching the left side open. Breathe into the stretch. And maybe notice if your two sides are different. Maybe one set of pectoralis muscles is not as tight as the other, or maybe it's your arms. Notice where you have sensation. If you have a tingling running down your arm, you're stretching too much. Just back away a little bit until that tingling goes away. And then remember, you can also control sensation a little bit by either pressing more or less hard into the wall with your palm. And then turn back to the wall. We'll do this one more time on the other side. You can be in the same pose here with the same exploration, just to see as things are unfolding for you. If you would like to experiment a little bit more, you might choose to bend your elbow here so that you have a 90-degree angle at the shoulder and at the elbow as you turn away. I'm showing the opposite side so that you can see better what I'm doing. And you could even move back and forth to see how bending versus stretching the elbow changes the opening for you. With your next exhalation, you can turn to the wall and try the other side. Once again, inviting a very open-hearted exploration here of how is your heart opening for you? How are these chest muscles feeling in this potentially very intense stretch, depending on how tight you might be? And then with your next exhalation, turn to the wall and release the arms. And then just take a few shoulder circles to the back and notice how your shoulders are feeling. Has your sensation changed in your shoulders? Has your openness changed in your heart? Don't expect anything, but just curiously observe whether there is a change. You might even, as you do shoulder circles, instead grab your strap and see if this movement has changed for you. Can you have a wider grip on your strap now? I know for me, after I do the wall work, I like to do this just to show myself just how impactful this little bit of work on the wall can be in terms of the openness of my chest. I have a much wider grip on my strap now. And so this is really just a way for you to experience that. We won't work with the strap a lot, but I think it's lovely to have physical feedback right away that shows you, oh wow, this stuff actually really makes a difference. And then you can actually keep your strap handy in case you need it. You might just sling it over one of your shoulders. The next stretch is one that can be really, really good for, or if you do it wrong, it actually doesn't do much for you at all. And so be really mindful of how you align your shoulders here. So I encourage you to shrug the shoulders up and then behind you so that you start with a nice open heart. And then reach your arms behind you to either clasp your hands or to have a strap between your hands. You will know whether you need a strap, and I can show this a little bit more closely, or whether you can clasp your hands by whether your chest collapses or not. A lot of times I see people wanting to clasp the hands and then look at what's happening to my shoulders. Right? My chest collapses forward, and I've just undone the benefit of the pose. So if I have a tight chest, I might need a strap so that my heart can stay open here. And so it's a strap that's creating an auspicious pose. It's not a, oh my gosh, I'm so tight kind of thing, right? It's how can I make this posture most effective in terms of its work of opening the heart, both physically and emotionally. The hands might be resting on your back, or if you have openness in the chest, you might be able to stretch the arms up a little bit. As soon as you feel a rounding though, you know you've gone too far and you realign, right? So if you have the camera on, you actually might get some nice physical feedback if you stand to the side and look at your own image, which I don't often encourage, but in this case, that could actually be helpful feedback. And then from here, either keeping the strap between your hands or keeping the hands interlaced, what you'll experiment with is, can I keep my heart open here if I fold at my hip joint? This will add a little bit more demand. You might need to bend your knees here because we really haven't worked on the hammies yet, so they might be tight. So take them out of the equation if needed and just see, can you be at 90 degrees at the hips here and keep your heart open? If you can, maybe you want to explore with an even bigger fold. There's nothing magical about this. It doesn't matter where you are. The big thing is, can you keep your heart open? And maybe the arms travel up, maybe they don't. The key still is tuning into the sensation of the posture in your heart region. Are you open here emotionally? Or are you creating anger or resentment or tightness or hopelessness? That's counterproductive. Come back to where you feel open and connected. With your next inhalation, rise up, keeping the heart that open. Beautiful. And then release the arms and maybe make some nice big circles just to release any strain that may have crept into the shoulders or the arms or the low back even. And so to me, this little shoulder opening sequence is just a beautiful reminder that if we close ourselves up with a forward posture, we lose our connection to ourselves and to other people. We sort of lose our compassion and our loving kindness. From here, and I will come to my knees so I can show this a little closer on the video, but you can actually stay standing. You'll take your thumbs and you'll bring your thumbs into your armpits. This may feel a little awkward, but try it anyway. And then use the power of your hands to roll your heart open. Did you see that on the screen just now, how that worked? So I was here, and then I did this, whew, right? And so this little movement then also helps you bring your shoulder blades onto your back. Can you see that? Yeah, does that make sense? So you're engaging the muscles between the shoulder blades that help you open the heart. And your hands under the armpits are just a way to prompt you into that movement. And so as you find yourself slumping at your computer or as you're standing in line at the post office, one way you can say, oh, let me get open, let me get connected here, is to just put your fingers in your armpits, if you're so inclined, and open your heart, right? And bring your shoulders toward each other and down the back, which is really an important arrangement for your shoulder health as you move into a little bit of back bending. All right, and then you can release that down, maybe roll out your hands because you may have created a little strain in your thumb here. All right. So with your heart nice and open, we will now come to the floor. It'll be really helpful for you at this point to have your 2 bricks and to have your strap. And if you have a strap, make a small loop like so with the buckle. If you have something that doesn't have a buckle, tie a small loop. And you can test whether the loop is the right size by bringing it, and I'll show this standing, but you can do this on the floor, to see if you can actually bring it up and over your foot so that it's around your ankle. And ultimately what you'll do is you will bring the strap through the opening. I'm showing all kinds of funny things on video today, but you're gonna bring it through your foot like this. So it looks like a little sandal. And from the other side, it looks like that. And if you hold the strap here, you can see that you now have an easy way of actually helping you move your foot. And so we'll hopefully all have this on our right foot. If not, just flip the instructions. And we'll come to the floor, and you can leave this little contraption on your foot. You may or may not need it, but it's nice to know it's there. Bring the strap forward so that it's out next to you, so that you can grab it with your hand as needed. From here, step the left foot forward. If you have the strap on the right foot, step the left foot forward to come into a lunge on your knees, or rather on your knee. And then from here, lift yourself up. Take your thumbs into your armpits and start with an open heart here. Now from here, and this might be a bit of a balance challenge, and you can always bring the hands to the bricks to begin with. From here, you will reach back and you will catch your right foot. And now you don't even have to catch your right foot if you don't want to, because you have this beautiful strap. And you can do it like this. And you can stay beautifully upright. Your heart can stay open as you bring the foot closer. Now, if you would prefer to take the hand and bring the foot closer to your bum, you can. But the whole point of this beautiful little strap sandal is that you don't need to, and your heart can stay open. And as you are here, notice sensation. For me, sensation has traveled into the lower body now, so I can feel this in my quadricep muscles. Those are the big muscles in the front of the leg. They are key muscles for back bends, actually, because if they're tight, you can't really open up in a back bend as well as when they're a little bit more flexible. And so don't yank on your knee here, just gently settle into the stretch. If this is not enough for you, like I said, you could bring the hand, or you can even move forward into the lunge a little bit more. Up to you, up to your own body. And then go ahead and release down. Step the left foot back and switch your sandal to the other foot. Or if you didn't need the strap, then you don't have to switch it to the other foot. Slide it onto the ankle, bring the strap to the front of the foot, slide it through the opening between the big toe and the next toe, and then have the strap handy by your side. Step the right foot forward. Come into your lunge and then draw the left foot up, either catching it with your hand or grabbing your beautiful strap sandal here to bring that leg up. Keeping the heart open. Feeling the opening in the left quadricep perhaps, if that's happening for you. There's also a deeper muscle in the hip joint called the psoas muscle. You may have heard of it. That's getting a nice stretch here too. You may or may not feel that. And so enjoy this opening and see if you can enjoy it with an open heart. You could press your right hand into the right knee for extra stability, or you could have it at your grip. You can create more stretch if you need more by using a hand or by sliding forward into the lunge. Always moving very slowly and very gently when you're opening big muscles that tend to be tight. Take one more full breath. Enjoying your open heart. Enjoying your opening quads. And then gently release the left foot down. Step back. And you can take your sandal off, or you can leave it. It doesn't bother you. And then from here, once again, thumbs into armpits. If you have sensitive knees, you might choose to kneel on a blanket, or you can double up your mat and then have your knees on the fold in the mat. Fingers in the armpits, create your open heart here. And reach back in the same way that we did earlier, standing. So you might need your strap, or you might interlace your fingers. The main thing is to keep the heart open, to keep the shoulder blades rounding toward each other and down the back. And so you're in a version of camel pose. You can keep the hands on the strap, or you can keep them interlaced, or if you can keep the heart open, you can bring the hands to your hips. But for a lot of us, we move into the camel too quickly, and as soon as we bring the hands to the hips, we do this. If that happens, keep the strap. And breathe here. Noticing the openness in your heart. And as you feel yourself opening, if the body is responding, you might move the hips forward more and the upper body back a little bit. You don't have to go far here. We don't have a goal. We don't have a destination. We're exploring this process of opening the front of the body. As you can imagine, opening the front of the body is a signal to the nervous system that you're safe. Because we don't open the front of the body to the world unless we feel a sense of safety. When we feel unsafe, what do? We do this. And so we're actually cultivating this sense of freedom. Beautiful. All right, then gently come back out of the pose and release yourself all the way to the floor. If you still have your little sandal on, take it off. Move the bricks to the side, but keep them handy. And then come all the way to the belly. We're basically going to do a very similar opening here that we've been doing. We will start with a little bit of a cobra pose. And so what you'll do is you'll plant your hands under your shoulders. I hope you can see this on the video, but there's no weight in the hands. If you want to, for a moment, you can just relax and release, bringing one cheek to the mat to sort of reset your nervous system. Hands are by your side, directly under the shoulders. Press the tops of the feet into the floor and press your pubic bone into the floor. So you're kind of turning the pelvis back a little bit. Then look forward and lift the chin off the floor any amount. And see if you can obtain here that same opening that you have with armpits under, or thumbs in the armpits. In fact, you could even do it. I'm showing it. You don't have to do it. You can keep your hands on the floor, but keep that open-heartedness here as you're in this little cobra, and see if you can lift the hand away from the floor and maintain the openness in your heart. You can always come down and take a break in between, but today we're doing fairly long holds. In this pose, your next step that you can explore is, can you keep an open heart here as you reach the hands back in the same way that we originally did standing and then did in camel's pose? Maybe you need a strap between the hands. Maybe your hands interlace. There's not a huge lift here in the chest. This is just about opening the upper body. If you feel this in the low back, you're efforting too much. Press the feet into the floor more, press the pubic bone into the floor, and maybe lift a little bit less. The low back should not hurt in back bends. The work really happens higher up in the body. You know, as you know by now, it happens really in the front of the chest and in the front of the legs. By now, if you need a break, please come down and rest your head on the other cheek than you did before and relax completely. Let yourself sink into the mat and notice your breathing. Can you reconnect to your four-part breath here? Can you find your inhalations, your pauses, your exhalations, your pauses? Back bends are fairly activating. Back bends are wonderful therapy for depression, for sadness. And so taking a moment every now and then during a back bending practice to turn inward is helpful. From here, if you've been using the strap sandal in the lunge, and say in camel, then you might want to put your strap sandal now on your right ankle. Slide it through the opening between the toes and then have the strap handy. You can run it over your right shoulder in front of you so that it's there. And then start in the same way that we did for our little cobra pose. But you might go ahead and leave the right leg lifted, bent at the knees so that you have access to the strap. Come into your small cobra if you can hold it. Otherwise, you can also bring the left arm in front of you and rest the forehead on your left forearm. You decide what's appropriate for you. I will show that for for a moment. So it could look like this. And then from here, you can use the strap to help bring the right foot closer to the outside of the right hip. Now, if you can use your hand, you can absolutely do that. But the whole point of having your little strap sandal is that you can actually do it that way, in which case you can use the hands as support on the floor as well to keep the heart open and to stretch the right quadricep muscle. Try to aim the heel of the right foot toward the outside of the right hip rather than toward the inside of the right glute. It's just healthier for your knee. It's not tragic if you can't do that. If it goes to the middle, it goes to the middle. Just be aware. And again, you can rest your head if that feels better for you. If your neck is getting tight, you might need a moment's rest here. If you want more work, you can lift the knee any amount of the right leg. And you might feel that now your hamstrings are working and your glutes are working. And when you get the hamstrings and the glutes to work, it actually encourages the quads, the big muscles in the front of the leg, to release more. And then release that right leg down. Take your little strap sandal off. And switch to the other side. Wrap it around the left ankle. If you want to use it, run it between the toes and then bring it forward across the left shoulder and switch sides with your arms. So if before you had your head resting on the left forearm, rested now on the right forearm. If you had your hands under the shoulders, you can do that on this side. And then find the stretch that works for you here. Aiming the left heel to the outside of the left hip, maybe using the hands, maybe using your strap. Paying attention to keeping the heart open as your quadricep muscles open, as your psoas opens. Remember, if you need a break, you can rest the head either on your forearm or even on one cheek. Notice if you are maintaining openness in the heart. Feel the beauty of this stretch, and if you want more, maybe lift the left knee any amount to feel the hamstrings and glutes firing here as the quads are stretching. Be compassionate with yourself. Notice what is most auspicious for you here in terms of alignment and choices, and which variation of this pose to take. And then very gently release the pose, taking the ankle strap away, and rest for a moment. Completely release and relax. Let the cheeks, one cheek rest on the floor. And tune into the sensations in your body. How is this pose reverberating for you? From the inside out, what is happening in your body, in your breath, in your mind? Watch your sensations with compassion, with kindness. And very gently begin to prepare yourself for the next step in this pose. So you might choose to do the two sides again separately, like we just did. So you could put your sandal back on your right foot, and then at some point, well, when I'll prompt you, you can switch sides. If you would like to try both legs at the same time, you can just have your strap extended like this. And normally in class I would come around and I would help you do this, but you're kind of on your own. So, but you would bring the strap behind you and catch both legs. You might have to put it on the floor like this and then come across. Yeah, I don't quite know, but somehow you'll have to get the strap on you like this. Maybe this is the way to do it. You come to the side and you catch both legs and then you bring yourself back down. This is if you want to use the strap. And from here, make sure the feet stay a slight distance apart. The knees are relatively close together. If you would like a prompt for how to space the knees, you could take your brick and put it between your knees so that you have the brick to press. And sometimes that's really, really helpful. And then you will use the strap or your hands to squeeze both legs in at the same time. Your head can be lifted, the heart is open. Or you can release one cheek down to the floor and rest. The heart will still stay open, so one is not better than the other. If you're doing it one side at a time, now would be a good time to switch sides. If you're doing both legs at the same time, if you want a little more work, see if you can lift the knees off the floor any amount. Can you do this kindly and compassionately? Can you stay integrated here and connected to yourself, to your own experience, as you open your heart to the world? And then very gently release down, release the strap, remove the brick if you had it. Hands come under the shoulders and press yourself into a child's pose. If you can do it with your knees closed, that will be a nicer release for your low back. If that's really hard for you, you might prop yourself up a little bit with a blanket like this and roll yourself over the blanket and have more of a combination of child's pose and maybe even puppy pose. The idea is to counter stretch the back a little bit here. If you open the knees wide, you end up coming back into a back bend, which is not a bad thing, but it doesn't quite accomplish the counter stretching that we're trying to do for essentially our preparatory pose for a wheel pose, which we won't do today, but that would be the next step if you were so inclined on your own. Our upward facing bow. And as you're resting in child's pose, invite your nervous system to settle. If there is any strain in the lower back, you can gently rock the hips side to side in child's pose. And that should help. Notice if your breath is re-regulating. Notice fluctuations in the mind. And then gently press yourself up from child's pose to a seat, just enough so that you can swing around and come to your back. You can roll down any way that works for you. You can walk yourself down, or you can use your core muscles to roll yourself. Bottom line is, you want to come to your back. And then here in this reclined position, open your feet wide, keeping the knees bent, so that the feet are at the edges of your mat. And we'll take a few windshield wipers here. So you'll let both legs descend to the right, both knees moving to the right, and then come back to center. Exhale the knees to the left. Moving with your own breath or your own preferred rhythm. It doesn't even have to be with the breath. Just moving luxuriously and slowly to really let your back adjust. Twisting is a lovely way of releasing low back strain. While still having an open heart here, you might even move your arms out in a T position to still feel that open heart. As you encourage the body to move into this very gentle twist. From here, I invite you to take any last little movements that your own body might like. Maybe a happy baby where both feet are in the air and you clasp the sides of the feet or the ankles. Or maybe you bring the knees into the chest and roll side to side. Or maybe you take some little supine twists where the legs come to one side and then the other. Sort of listen to your own body. What would your own body like right now to release from this very active, open-hearted practice? And then gently begin your transition toward your final resting posture. So give a moment's consideration to what you might like to rest, maybe a blanket under the head, maybe a rolled mat under the knees. Whatever feels good for you in this moment. Maybe if it's cool in your house, you can cover yourself with a blanket or put a layer of clothing on top of you. And then wiggle yourself into place. Wiggle yourself into your Shavasana position. Listening to your body to notice how it wants to arrange itself, maybe wiggling the shoulder blades underneath you and then letting the arms come out to the side. Backs of the hands maybe resting on the floor. And invite your body to let go. Invite your body to surrender to gravity, to let go of any gripping or grasping. Invite your muscles to soften and invite a sense of ease into your physical being. You might imagine a soothing light or liquid draining from the head down into the body, and as it drains through your body, it spreads a sense of ease, a sense of softness, of loving kindness through your tissues. Allow that sweet energy to drain from the head into the shoulders, arms and fingers. Allow that sense of ease and softening to travel downward through your torso, into your hips, your legs, your feet, all the way to your toes. Feel the sense of soothing and softness, of ease, as your body receives this very sweet, calming, peaceful energy. Maybe your breath too has softened. And maybe even your mind is becoming more peaceful, more easeful. And then simply trust, simply have faith in your body, in your breath, and in your mind. That this sense of peace will stay with you without any effort on your part. As you move into a few minutes of silence. Gently invite your senses to awaken to your outer and inner world. Perhaps your body wants to wiggle or move a little bit as you invite a nice deep breath of your choice. Take all the time you need in the next few seconds to prepare yourself for your journey, first to your right side and ultimately to a seat. Once you've arrived at a seat, your palms can ground on your thighs or they can come together at your heart as you bow your head to heart center. Keeping an open heart, especially during times of challenge, can be difficult. It requires hard work, and it requires a basic equanimity that is deeply ingrained in your nervous system. And so in today's practice, you challenged yourself to keep an open heart, literally and figuratively. Staying grounded in yourself, staying grounded in your own peace, in your own clarity. It's my deep desire that you can carry this capacity of having an open heart into your world outside, into your relationships, no matter what your challenges are. Thank you so much for sharing this practice with me. It's always a pleasure and an honor. Take good care.